let's get right with the business. I believe on the phone we have with us Anthony DeStefano from Newsday to talk with us. Hello, Anthony.
Hello, I'm here.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay.
Good. I know this is a horrific story, but, well, you're the guy. You got to write it. So tell us what happened there.
Well, I mean, as I think most people know by now, a tourist helicopter on a sunset tour for photography with 5 passengers plus the pilot went down in the East River at about 7 o'clock, a little after 7 o'clock on Sunday. The pilot was able to escape, but the passengers did not. They perished, and the aircraft, although it had flotation devices on it, flipped over, and they were found by firefighter divers, strapped in their seats. And the firefighters had to cut them out, and they tried resuscitation on 3 of them, but it was to no avail, and everybody died from drowning.
All right.
That, in a nutshell, is what happened.
Right. Now, I mean, did they think that they got there fast enough that resuscitation was a viable option?
Well, apparently, I'm assuming they did. You had a tugboat on the scene immediately, but it took a little while for, I would think, divers to get there and in the water. But they, I guess they had to work. I mean, they may have thought there was some a possibility.
I mean,
I've heard of the so-called diving reflex, which keeps people alive,
okay.
and they may have worked against that.
Right.
But they haven't said very much about why and the wherefores.
Yeah. Well, I did notice reading this story, and it was one of the things that first, when the copter hit the water, were those flotation devices supposed to automatically kick in?
Yeah, and it seems like they did. And I think if you look at the videos, this amateur video of the event, and you'll see that they did kick in. You'll also notice that the doors on the video were open on the side of the helicopter.
All right. I got to be honest with you. I didn't see the flotation I saw the flotation devices when they pulled the copter out of the water. But I didn't see them.
Well, we only saw a bit of the video. That was was the thing. We saw the video cut out.
Because I'm thinking theoretically, if those flotation devices had worked, the copter never would have flipped on its side and went over in the first place.
It's hard to say because the doors, like I said, were open, and the rotor was hitting the water,
right,
and it was creating a cascade. You can just see even on the brief video that there was water flying all over the place. It's conceivable that even a slight tilt, this is a speculation, on the copter would have perhaps let water come in and started to flip it, even if the bags are deploying. It's one of those unfortunate things that may have happened.
Well, and then the other issue that I don't know what to think about is what is a fuel cutoff switch doing in the passenger compartment?
Well, the thing, this particular model helicopter had two fuel cutoff switches. You had an emergency switch, and you had a regular fuel switch. They were in an area between the captain and what would have been the fifth passenger seat. That's the way the aircraft is configured. A subsequent model, from what I understand, has that changed. They're no longer on the floor, as it were. They're sort of in the captain's area, as I understand it, in the console area directly in front of the captain. So those switches are no longer there. But this is an older model.
Right.
So that's where the switches were.
I'd be curious to know why they moved them.
I don't know. I mean, this is the first instance I've heard of this being a potential issue. We still don't know why.
Okay.
The captain has said that to police that a strap of some sort got engaged with one of the levers, the fuel levers. That's being investigated still.
All right.
So we're going to find out. It's just sort of like drips and drabs, but eventually the NTSB, which does its job thoroughly, and They may tell us. They may tell us today. Who knows?
Right. And then I guess the hope is that there'll be some kind of regulations put. I mean, I'm just curious. The idea of having a fuel cutoff switch in a passenger compartment. At least notify the passengers that the darn thing is there. Like, leave this alone. Don't touch this.
It may not have even been on anybody's mind to think that. Look, we don't know what was said between the pilots and the passengers before they took off. We just don't know at this stage.
And it's possible too. They were told, and nobody even realized that what happened.
Something may have happened that somebody didn't realize it.
Yeah.
If that in fact is what happened, we don't know. The only person who survives is the captain, and we don't know what he's officially said. He has been interviewed by the NTSB, but we just don't know what he said. We know what he said to the police, according to our sources, but this is to be continued.
And now this also this isn't the only situation that this company has had, is it?
Well, I mean,
safety issues.
There have been other helicopter, fatalities, but not necessarily ascribed to this company.
Okay.
They've had. You mean the Liberty helicopters?
I would, yeah.
Yeah, they've had other, on record, there have been other, FAA disclosed that they've had other incidents. Some have been rather minor.
Right.
Some have, I think, there have been rough landings, and I think there may have been one additional crash landing, but nobody got hurt. Mm-hmm. And there was not this kind of issue.
Right.
But they've had other incidents. But incidents happen all the time in aviation. Some of them are quite minor, and some are not.
Yeah.
And this is what we had. We had a major fatality.
Are the I don't know if you looked at this. Are the numbers for helicopter incidents that much different than, let's say, the rest of aviation?
Good question. I don't know the answer to that. I know the regular civil aviation airline industry, I think, puts out figures which it says, there's so many millions of miles before this fatality or, some sort of ratio that they have. I haven't seen those figures for helicopters.
Right.
I suspect they may exist someplace, but we just haven't seen them yet.
Right.
We every now and then we hear about helicopter crashes.
Yeah.
And
actually, there was another one in Iraq, right?
Well, today?
Yeah.
Well, it's been reported today. Yeah.
Yes.
Took, 6 or 7 lives.
Just reported, and some of them.
We don't know what happened to that. It's a military helicopter, I'm assuming.
Some of those guys were from the rescue station out east on Long Island.
Yeah, there's a story in I think on the paper's website about that right now. And this is also going to be sorted out, but the military does its own thing. Right.
Well, I mean, I just hope that whatever they determine it was, I don't know how you, how do you minimize? You can try to be as safe as you can, and still things like this can happen.
Yeah, but you try, and you try to. Tell the passengers, I would think, what could happen and all the safety precautions. As you get on a jet plane when you're a passenger,
right.
Things happen, and the great mystery as to what happened.
Yeah.
We know that the NTSB has said yesterday that there was no engine issue, right, and there was no control panel issue. I asked them specifically if there was a fuel lever determination. They said that's still under review. And also under review is the flotation device deployment, and they're still examining the passenger harness system. That was as of late last night. It's conceivable we may hear more today, but then it's going to take take a while for the NTSB to come down with a determination.
Yeah.
And I've seen cases where the NTSB has examined crashes, and they just didn't get a root cause.
Right. Wow. Well, let's hope something comes of it, but I guess you'll be following this story, right?
Yeah, as close as I can. I happened right in our backyard, so to speak.
Right.
And it would have been, it's a very It's very sad to watch the video that one of the passengers took, and I think he put on Instagram of them starting out on this flight. It's only an 11-minute flight, and they were all sort of happy about going up at sunset. And you see the aircraft carts around. You see the sunset over Jersey to the west, and then they take off, obviously, and we know from the flight path that it went by the Statue of Liberty and up the East River, and was climbing about Roosevelt Island when something happened. And this is what's going to have to be sorted out.
Yeah,
it's not the end of it, but there'll be lawsuits, and there's one lawsuit already. And
right. I'm sure there'll be more, but we have to wrap it up because I've got a time constraint here, so I'm getting. But I want to thank you, and I hope you will call us again when some more of this shakes out and we got some more information.
Yeah, as this develops, we'll stay in touch and tell you more about what is determined.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Anthony, and we also want to thank Newsday for letting us do this every Friday. Have a nice talk with you folks. Well, you take care, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. I guess we're all going to wait for the results. And I also, again, want to thank Newsday for letting this... we get to talk to the reporters who actually do the stories.